Hello my scrappy friends. I know it has been quite a little while since I've posted anything. Life has just like kept going non-stop. Busy. Keep my kids growing up and yeah, just everything. What I have for you today is my latest share for Tracy Reed Designs using the Trailblazer collection. I wanted to show you a real quick flip through of where I'm at in this album. I'm working on on a trip that we took last year to Karajini. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it because it's beautiful, spectacular. If you're local at all or planning to come to Western Australia, definitely go there, worth it. So I'm going to give you a quick flip through of where I'm at. I am using pretty much mostly the Trailblazer collection. I have added in a few bits and pieces from my stash, and I've got like a kind of rule for myself. For my pocket pages, everything is going to be mostly flat, so all of these were done in Photoshop with the journaling and everything on them. And then I'm going to go a bit more all out with, not all out, but a bit more extra with my 12 by 12 pages. So a quick flip through of where I'm at, and then I will jump into what I'm working on today. Right, so from here on out, I've got notes and photos pretty much in this album. And that's kind of where this process starts. What I've done is I've gone through and you can see where I've got gaps. And all I do is jump into Photoshop. For here, I've printed like just a couple of like 2x2 printed pattern cards. I've got another photo to go here. And then in here, so you can see my notes, Hancock Gorge, full page, the date, and I've put in brackets here Kermit, so I remember exactly which gorge it was. And then on the back, I've got stars, but I've crossed that out, and yeah, you can see I've made a few different notes. So I kind of just flip through and make a note of where I'm up to, what I'm going to create next. And because I don't like wasting paper or ink, I will keep going until I've filled enough of either a 12 by 12 sheet or a A4 sheet to fill it and print and cut if it's going through the silhouette. So that's how I end up. I've got a stack under here that I'll show you in a sec of what I'm working on next. So you can see I've got notes, I've got photos, and little notations of what they are. And most, there are still some that I need to print photos for, like right through this section here. But you can see I do have a notebook. If you saw my my last post on the Tracy Reed Designs blog about my process from camera roll to scrapbook page, I have a very similar process for this particular, for like bigger stories that are like a holiday or something like that. So you can see I've just gone through. That's where I'm up to in the album. I'm going to pop this aside. Once I've gone through and I know where I'm up to and what I'm working on, I will go through, like I said, and fill 12 by 12 sheets and A4 sheets with all of this goodness, and print things out and have a bit of a play with, you know, if I know I've got a pocket page to work on, I'll create my my journaling on here and make sure it's ready to go and print all those out. So I've got all these 3x4. So these two are actually 4x6 cards that I have trimmed down to fit. Journal card. So I've got all these cards to work with. This one you can see I've welded this little sticker onto this 3x4 card. I actually hand cut around here because this was on an A4 sheet and it was the only thing that had any like real fussy lines, so I just fussy cut around that one. That's actually going to go on the bottom of my photo here. And then I've got all these extra bits and pieces as well that I know I'm going to probably use throughout this album. I am mixing a couple of pieces from one of the other Tracy Reed Designs collections. I can't remember what it is right now, but I will make sure I link everything in my blog post. I know that a bunch of this stuff is already allocated for pages. I've got some embellishments and titles and labels and stuff there. 3x4 cards. This is an off cart. I know that I need these for layers for a particular page. Got some photos. I knew I only wanted a border of this one, so I printed this on the inside. That'll go into my kit for creating more pages. And then I've done a little bit of the digital mixed media on the background for this one. And I bet 3 guesses this is where my star photos are going. So I'm going to now start creating. I will probably just work from the top down, if that makes sense. And I hope that you enjoyed. Make sure if you have any questions to drop them below. I will also share a photo of what my kind of the extras that I've added. There's not much, but I do have this piece of vellum. It's got rose gold, bronzy coloured rainbows on it, which works perfectly with the Australian outback and the orange that we've got there. So like I said, if you have any questions, make sure you drop them below, and I hope that you enjoy my process. Alrighty, so here I am voiceovering for you. You have to forgive me if my voice sounds a bit off. I have managed to catch a cold and I'm kind of slowly recovering. So I'm just going through the piles of my supplies there and sorting them out into where they belong. You can see I'm just sliding in the photos and journaling cards and pen and paper cards. You can see these ones are a tiny bit too big. Obviously when you have to leave an allowance for the seam, it becomes a little bit smaller than 2x2. So that's that one finished. Then I've got these 2. I decided to just put pattern cards in there, call it done. And then I've got these ones to slide in. Again, I need to trim these down a little bit. Just slide them in, so that small page is done. I'm really enjoying working through this album and re-looking at all the photos. They were like from a year ago, but it was such an amazing trip. I've got a little label here that I've printed a little bit of journaling on. I'm just going to stick that in the top corner. These look like they're just plain black photos, but in real life you can see the stars that I was photographing. I had to do a little bit of a repair on this one. And here I am on my first 12x12 that I'm working on. So I'm going to ink everything up, starting with that 3x4 card, and then I'm going to stick the photo. Yeah, so it's not really a great deal to talk about. I'm just adding some glue and trying to make sure it's straight and centered, which is always something I have a problem with. I have used brown ink on the edges of everything in this album. I just feel like it helps to tie everything together. I'm going to pop this down here, and I'm just going to pop on the name of the gorge. So you can see I've got it all here. Just getting my spacing right. I decided as I was doing this that I wanted the thickers to go over the top of my little tile alphas, and I decided I wanted to change that as well. Right at the end I've got a photo of all of my extra supplies that I've added in. You can see I've got the pink and the blue of this same alphabet, and I felt like that the blue had more contrast, so that's why I swapped it for the blue ones. Just getting my spacing right, and that is, I'm going to add some enamel dots. So I've got 3 or 4 sheets of enamel dots I think that I'm adding to this. If you can hear a bell, we've got like a 5-month-old kitten, and she goes everywhere I do pretty much. So that is that page all done, and I'm moving on to the next one. So these little stars, I've done 3 sizes of each colour, and I've done 2 of each size so that I can cut out, which is what I'm doing here, the outside layer, so like the bottom layer of each of the smaller ones. I'm going to fold them in half because they are layered stars. They're a digital embellishment that I printed, and I'm just going to stick the smaller one to the center of the one with the extra on the outside edge. I hope that makes sense. Words are hard at the moment for me, sorry guys. And I'm going to ink all the edges of all of those as well. And here's a little close-up of that one, and I'm going to do all of them the same. I'm going to end up with 3 lots of 3, and I pop those aside to dry rather than trying to stick them while they're still wet. I've got my layers here. I did most of the design of this one, of most of this actually in Photoshop, so I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to go where. And I'm just adding adhesive to the center, not so much to the edges, so that I can still tuck things under if I want to. I've got my 3 photos here. These ones you can see the stars in the video much better than you can in that other one. And in the bottom photo there as well, I'm not sure if you can see in the close-ups, but you can also see like some of the galaxies. It's actually really cool. I was so impressed. Got my journaling card here. I did start with that a little bit too high, and you do see me move that down a bit later. I just referred back to the digital page on my computer for that. Something didn't look quite right, so I'm just going to move that down a bit more. I just want to make sure it's straight. Right, this was one of the title elements from the kit, lasso the stars, and I thought it was perfect for this. And you can see I've got my all my little stars here, and I'm just going to create 3 clusters of embellishment. And you can see I started with the biggest one. So there's the blue, the red, and the yellow. I've got a large, a medium, and a small of all 3 colours, and I'm going to mix them all up so that I get a blue, a red, and a yellow in all 3 places, in the 3 different sizes. I lost one somehow, and then I found it. Alright, so I've got my placement. I'm just going to go back through and stick them all down with some wet glue. Just being careful, I don't want to smush the little stars down. Obviously they're going to get smushed down when they go into my album anyway. And then I'm going to go in with some enamel dots. Again, I think I go with the red, the yellow, and a blue. I'm not sure. Maybe there's 3 different colours in those 3 different spaces. I'm going to add some gold mist, and then off camera I add a few extra pieces from my extras kit. I've got some really old crepe paper word stickers that I'm going to add my journaling, and call it done. So here is my finished page. You can see I've added those stickers. I've also added some of that vellum, just 2 small pieces that I've torn, and I really like how that looks. I'm going to flip through my album again for you. Here are those other pages that I created recently on the Tracy Reed Designs blog, and yeah, you can see where I'm up to, where's finished. Like I've said, if you do have any questions, please make sure you drop them below. I'm hoping, I know I've said this before, but maybe now I can get back on track with posting and sharing more often. I will link everything in the description box below. As always, thank you so much for choosing to spend your scrappy time with me, and I will speak to you in my next process video. Have a fantastic scrappy day, my friends.